Welcome back to another action-packed episode of Comic Confidential. I'm Troy.
I'm Cade.
And let's get right into the top 5 news stories from the week you just have to know.
These are have to know or you'll die.
Pretty much.
It's life-saving news.
It is. If you don't know these, you're going to go to school and people are going to say, hey, did you hear about this? And you're going to be like, no. And then they're going to beat you up. Because that's what happens at school. Because you're not like cool.
Yeah, you're not a cool kid.
Apparently cool kids are the ones that don't get beaten up. Don't be a non-cool kid.
Or just be like a huge kid like we were.
Yeah, just be big kids, but also not up with the news.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening anymore.
Neither do I.
So let's get into the actual news. First story, director Matthew Vaughn, who you might know from Kingsman: The Secret Service, Kick-Ass, X-Men First Class, etc., is reportedly being eyed to helm the Man of Steel sequel. So what do you think about that?
He's been like trying to do this for years.
Yeah.
And I mean years and years and years. Back when Brendan Ruth was Superman.
Oh, back in the Superman Returns days.
Even before that.
Wow.
He's been wanting to do this for the longest time. And he like absolutely trashed that Brendan Ruth movie thinking it was the biggest piece of shit. So
Really?
I want to see what he can do.
Well, I do too. And I mean, if you look at Kingsman's Secret Service, like, the guy can do action, 100%. The church scene from that movie is absolutely brilliant. Then, X-Men First Class tells a really good story. So you put the two of them together and you've got a potential, really good movie. So the guy knows what he's doing. I think Matthew Vaughn would be a great fit for the DC universe.
Absolutely. But does this mark the end of the Snyderverse?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I was always under the impression that Zack was pretty much done after Justice League. And I don't mean done in the sense of being dumped and off you go, but more in the sense of, that was his final project that he was actually attached to.
He's moving into the friend zone after that.
That's it, yeah. So he's had, he's had the titty action and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, no.
It's not really working out.
This isn't working out, so can you just go be my friend?
Yeah.
And carry my bags.
Yeah, pretty much.
And stuff. But I don't know. I mean, he has, people talk a lot about Zack Snyder and, the mistakes that he's made. But, you need to realize that visually, this guy has brought some fucking beautiful things to the screen already.
I don't hate the guy. I actually love his work.
Yeah.
But I'm always keen to see what other people can do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, and I think it'd be a mistake from Warner Brothers to keep going back to the same well.
Yeah.
I would think if you've got multiple projects going on, then you would want to have as many sets of fresh eyes as you possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, all for Matthew Vaughn. And look, when you talk about like the 3 main movies that he's known for, I love all of those movies.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, let's move on. Aquaman has been pushed back to December 21st of 2018.
Oh, my God.
Is this
Sound
bad news?
the alarms.
Is this bad news? Probably not.
It's actually not. Because what this does is this fills the gap that Avatar 2 has vacated, because James Cameron's pushed back Avatar 2, which had that release date.
Because he wants to shoot all 4,000 of those movies in one go.
I'm pretty sure he does, yeah. Just one long, continuous movie that he'll release as a director's cut.
Oh, my God. He would do that.
He probably would do that. He's on the cutting edge. But look, as far as that goes, what that does is that brings Aquaman into the Christmas movie. What am I talking about?
The Christmas period?
Yeah, the Christmas movie period, which is a big time. And usually you get, that's when you get your Star Warses, and that's when you get like all that sort of stuff. The good thing about 2018 so far is that there is no major December release. Avatar 2 was it. So if Aquaman gets pushed into that, it's pretty much only got to go up against, I think it's like Mary Poppins or something, the remake that they're doing for that with Emily Blunt.
Oh.
So it's actually really good news.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so you cannot look at that as being detrimental to the movie or detrimental to the DCEU or like there's problems, because that's actually a really smart move. On the flip side of that news, though, Marvel or Sony in particular have announced a project that's going to fit that October 5th spot that Aquaman has just vacated, and that is Venom.
which that came right out of the left field. Holy.
Absolutely nowhere.
I called this movie.
You did, 100%. You called it. We knew it was probably going to come at some point, but all early reports kind of indicate that it won't be tied into the MCU,
which is absolutely crazy.
Sony, I will tell you something right now if you're listening, Sony. Look, Mr. Sony.
There's Guardians of the Galaxy. Sneak it in as one of the post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
Just the symbiote, just doing a little creepy crawly thing.
100%. And if you're going to bring it in, maybe bring it in sort of, I guess you could bring it in for the second Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And just have it as that. Don't have it necessarily as a Venom standalone, or you can do that if you want, but you can't just have it completely unconnected to the MCU.
They're gonna go down that really shitty trail like they did before if they start doing stupid things like that.
Yeah, and it would be when you're talking about obviously they've done work with Marvel before with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, so they can come to these agreements. So I'm not sure why they wouldn't this time.
Time will tell, mate.
Time will tell.
I think we will be seeing him in the MCU. We have to.
I would hope so.
Imagine the Hulk with the symbiote on him.
Well,
that could be a movie. That could be a bloody movie in itself.
That's not going to happen. Not going to happen, my friend. It'll be an Eddie Brock Venom, and it will just go from there. But speaking, because we're talking about 2018 and all that sort of stuff and Aquaman being slightly pushed back, the next story kind of ties into that in the sense that Warner Brothers have 5 sort of comic films or adaptations in the works, and they want one of them to start filming this year to fill the gap that they now have, being that The Flash is gone. So what it looks like is, currently right now, they only have one release in 2018.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, which isn't great.
No.
So they're pushing for another one. And the 5 that they have, you've got Gotham City Sirens, Flash, Green Lantern Corps, Suicide Squad 2, and potentially a live-action Justice League Dark.
Yeah, I can tell you this is going to be Suicide Squad 2.
You think?
Yeah, because it made money.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's you can pretty much 100% say it's not going to be Flash.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed because I wanted that Flash movie so bad.
Yeah, I think, just with the problems that it does have and needing a full sort of rewrite and all that sort of stuff, that's not going to happen. Same with Green Lantern Corps. That's kind of come out of left of center in the sense of we were looking at 2020 for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it would be crazy for them to bring that forward so far, but they are already in talks for potential directors. David S. Goyer, who directed Blade Trinity, is potentially in talks for that movie. So,
Mind you, it's not uncommon for Warner Brothers to get this far ahead of themselves, because just think of when it was Batman vs. Superman. I swear that thing was in production for 4 years.
Well, that's true.
So who knows, man?
But we're not talking about being in production. We're talking about not even being necessarily having anything off the ground to being released in 2018. I would say you're probably right with Suicide Squad 2 or Gotham City Sirens, because they're kind of well and truly, underway with that in the sense of they know they've got Margot Robbie, they know they've got David Ayer. That's probably the only one there that has a guaranteed lead and a guaranteed director.
Yep.
So if you were going to push for anything right now, it'd be that particular movie.
Absolutely. And I mean, you'd have to ride off the success in bunny years of Margot Robbie.
Yeah, the financial success.
Exactly.
So you can either do that with Suicide Squad 2 or you can do it with Gotham City Sirens. I would personally like to see something different.
Same.
So bring on Gotham City Sirens.
Yeah, definitely. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 adds Michael Rosie Bum Bum and Sylvester Stallone in key roles. And apparently, they're very important comic characters that kind of work in tandem with each other.
Who could it be? Who could? Well, right now, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
Yeah. Living tribute.
Jesus.
Just straight up.
Just straight up. Just as big as you can get almost.
I could imagine Rosie Bum in all gold.
Oh, yeah.
Covered in all gold.
Who wouldn't want to see that? Honestly, I would probably say if they would probably be members of the Nova Corps.
Yeah.
I think it would probably, is one of them going to be Richard Rider? Is it too, is that too big a character for an unannounced character to be at this point? Is it just an intro into Infinity Wars? Who knows right now? But one thing you do know is that both of those guys are fucking top notch.
Absolutely. And I find it absolutely amazing. Like, filming on this movie wrapped months ago.
Yeah.
That they're announcing like characters now
Yeah.
is like insane.
Well, the fact, and look, we did know about Sylvester Stallone. We've known about Sylvester Stallone for some while. It was never really confirmed as to, how big a role he was going to play until recently when James Gunn said this. So, what they've done is they've managed to keep so much under wraps. And I think that, contributes to the success of these movies, man, where you don't get like, this leaked and this leaked and this is happening and this and this and this. You'd be hard pressed to find anybody that knew Michael Rosenbaum was in this movie.
Oh, absolutely. It's because no one expecting that guy to do anything at the moment.
Oh, he's got his own show. He's doing things.
He's got things going on, mate.
He's got things.
Don't write him off.
He's got a job and a steady paycheck and whatnot.
Hey, he's got them Smallville royalties still rolling in.
He does. He's probably still got Smallville checks he hasn't even cashed yet.
Hey, do you want to know a little fun fact? Like, it's a little bit of a tangent though.
Yeah.
Is the mansion in Green Arrow
Yeah.
is the same mansion that was in Smallville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So Oliver's mansion, you mean?
Yeah.
Is the same as Lex's?
Yes.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Go back and watch it, and you'll be like, "Holy shit, mate!"
I honestly don't know if I could go back and rewatch all of Smallville just for a mansion shot.
Just for a laugh.
Just for a laugh.
Just do it for a laugh.
Maybe one day when I've got I've got 10 seasons worth of life that I don't have planned.
Yeah.
I'll go back and I'll do it. But, Michael Rosenbaum, man, still to this day, you can say it 100% without any fucking...
The best fucking Lex
best
ever.
Lex. Beth Lex. He's the best Lex, for sure.
Forever, ever. Anyway, did you see the new Wonder Woman trailer this week?
Of course I did. Of course I did.
Just want to check, mate.
How could you miss this? It was everywhere. This is it, man. Hopefully this is it. Anyway,
I hope it's it.
This is the third trailer, I believe. Might have been teaser, then trailer, then this trailer.
And then teaser to the new trailer.
Yeah, and then TV spots and this, that, and the other.
I'm avoiding TV spots from now on.
I'm really avoiding everything that I can, like leaked images or new image surfaces or promotional artwork reveals and like all this sort of stuff.
Toys.
Yeah, toys. Lego's probably going to fuck something up.
Well, they already did. Like, a toy got released and we got to see Ares.
Yeah.
Which was fucked.
Which is unfortunate, but I mean, this is the thing, because this is what they would call the origin trailer. So the Wonder Woman origin trailer. So this kind of goes back to, shows us where she's a kid and how she grows up and she's learning and training under the Amazons and all that sort of stuff.
She's the underdog, mate.
It's
an underdog story.
It's a true underdog story, similar in the vein of Underdog, the movie, a true underdog story.
Except she's like literally the complete opposite of an underdog. You're a god.
Yeah.
So,
but she doesn't know it at this point, because they do make mention.
Don't let her know she's the best.
Don't let her know how good she is.
Yeah.
Because she'll fuck you up. But what we do is we get a look at her training, which is cool. We get a much better look at Themyscira, which is great. You get to see old-timey London.
It looks shithouse.
It looks shithouse, and that's kind of like the contrast of the untouched woman's world and then man's mess of a fucking heap of shit.
It's like going into a bachelor's apartment.
Exactly.
It's dirty.
Exactly. Old-timey London is your old house.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically. But you do get a bit more of a look of Steve Trevor as well. I guess the biggest thing with this is this looks on point.
It does. It looks fantastic. One thing I like about the trailer is that, like, we kind of already spoke about it, but she's not born into like being the best.
Yeah.
She kind of has to earn it, and she runs away. We see that she steals the God Killer sword, and we also see that she steals her traditional red and blue warrior's outfit.
Yeah. What I like with this is you get the sort of the end of the Trinity the final piece of the baby Trinity, the kid Trinity.
Yeah.
So, we've seen little Cal, we've seen little Bruce, and now we get to see little Diana as well.
You know what I can't wait to see is little Martian Manhunter and just the massacre that goes on there.
Oh, that would be
the best.
The best. We don't condone Martian violence or genocide at all, but it'd make for a good movie.
It would.
Anyway, look, the whole thing with this is enough, Warner Brothers. This is important.
Pump the brakes, mate.
Pump the brakes, because this movie is only a couple of months away. 3 months, I think. 3 months till its release, maybe a little bit less.
We should get a countdown going on the website.
We should. We definitely should. But this is, that's all we need. 100%. We don't need to see any more. I do not want to see Ares before I'm seeing Ares on the big screen. I think we've done it.
Yeah. I was actually really impressed that they held back.
Yeah.
And did not show him.
They have, yeah. And that's good. And I think what one thing you really get to look at is the scope of this, and this is going to be massive, and this is set against World War I and the war to end all wars and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be massive in its scope. But Patty Jenkins seems to have done a really, really good job. Even the score over the top that you hear.
Oh, actually, that's one thing I did have a problem with this trailer, is that it's really nice and calm near that ending bit, and then it's just near the end.
But look, man, I mean, that was one of the most popular things from Batman vs. Superman.
That's just wedged right in there,
well,
man.
It is, but it's in case you forgot how badass she becomes, here's this fucking killer guitar riff just to remind you that she will fuck you up, basically.
What do you think of her lasso? How does that... Is that looking weird on screen, or is that just me?
I think it looks fine.
It's just me?
Yeah, I think it's just you. I think it looks great.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking it's a bit too glowy. Maybe 50% less glowy, and I'll be all...
50% less glowy. Well, the thing with trailers as well is that you don't know at what point in production this is.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't necessarily the final finished product that you're going to see on screen. Things can get cut, things can get changed, all that sort of stuff in post-production. So who knows? From what I've seen so far, holy shit, though. Am pumped.
An uncharted island. Let me list all the ways you're going to die. Rain, heat, disease-carrying flies, and we haven't started on the things that want to eat you alive.
We'll double them.
Plus a bonus if we make it back.
It's Bloody Big Monkey Week, Troy.
It is.
And this week, to celebrate, we went and saw Kong Skull Island.
Yes, we did.
That is so difficult to say.
You kind of threw me. What is Bloody Big Monkey Week?
Is
that
week...
an actual thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Excellent.
Yeah. So we went and saw this movie.
Yep.
With the world's hardest title to say.
Yes, Kong Skull Island. You actually have to really think about what you're saying before you say it.
Yeah, that's bad marketing, in my opinion.
Well,
if it was King Kong Skull Island, that's easier.
Well, yeah, I guess it kind of breaks it up a little bit. I don't know, though. It's pretty hard-hitting, impactful, Kong Skull Island.
Yeah.
You got to think about, because everybody knows that with movie making, you've got to really think about the trailer guy and the guy that has to say, the title and all that sort of stuff. He's one of the most important people in movie making.
Except he's extinct now. The 80s movie voice is gone.
Well, yeah, 80s movie voice is gone, but now we're into action blockbuster guy voice.
Yeah, and
which is
when was the last time you heard that?
That's a very good point, actually. Because
it went with the 80s movies guy.
Yeah, because, actually, no, that's true. Most people, when you look at the trailers and everything, they don't say, coming soon, that sort of thing anymore. That's a shame.
Bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back. Bring that back.
Bring back the actions voiceover guy.
Bring back action voiceover guy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit of money.
That's your thing.
That's my thing. So this had budget of about $185 million, which is fairly intense. But when you're looking at blockbusters now, man, realistically, you're looking
it's a drop in the ocean.
It is you realistically would be hitting 150 to 200 million, pretty much. When you're looking at a blockbuster or beyond. And when we're talking about things like when Avengers Infinity War comes, that's probably going to have a fucking $500 million budget or something ridiculous. It'll be absolutely insane. But this has made some pretty good money. So on its opening weekend, it made $61 million and knocked off Logan for the number one spot. Logan was obviously in its second week, and Logan obviously had $85 million the week before. But $61 million, man, that's no sneeze.
No laughing matter?
Nothing to sneeze at is a saying.
That's the worst saying I've ever heard.
It's nothing to sneeze at. Anyway, we're not even.
Who sneezes at things?
We're not even going to go into what it's about. So anyway, moving on. So what we're looking at so far is we're looking at by the time we go to record, we're looking at $77 million domestic with a total of $162 million worldwide. So that's not a bad, not bad money for something that has only been out for about a week, realistically.
What's good money?
Well, look,
more than that.
Well, really, yeah. Well, it would be more than that for sure. When you look at something like, if you want to be absolutely ridiculous, Avengers had a plus $200 million opening weekend. I think Star Wars: The Force Awakens had 290 something.
Different kettle of fish.
It is a different kettle of fish, but what I am saying is it's still impressive because most of the time, like your opening weekend is massive, and if you haven't made at least a third of your money on your opening weekend, you're gonna struggle.
Is that like a set rule?
That it's not set in stone. Like it's not a science. But for the most part, the opening weekend is that important because the money you make
slowly trickles down.
And what we're seeing more and more and more of is these second weekend drops are becoming even more massive. So people are like, "Fuck yeah, I'm going to go out and see that." But then they watch it once because then they'll go and illegally download it because they feel better about themselves because they've actually paid money for it. So they're going to the cinemas, but they're only going to the cinemas once, or they're going to the cinemas very quickly.
Yeah.
And then, that's it. So what this movie's second weekend will be telling to sort of see how much money it's going to make overall.
Yeah.
If it has a strong second weekend, then it's gonna bring it in. In contrast, though, 2014's Godzilla did make $93 million for its opening weekend. So if we're talking about Battle of the Monsters, like the box office, Godzilla has definitely landed the first punch.
First round.
Or bite to the neck or whatever a Godzilla would do in a fight.
Lightning breath.
Yeah, fire breath. Something
like that.
Whatever. Anyway.
Tell me what the movie's about.
Oh, the synopsis. So a team of explorers and soldiers travel to an uncharted island in the Pacific, unaware they are crossing into the domain of monsters, including the mythic Kong. And that is realistically, like for a one-sentence synopsis, that pretty much sums up this movie perfectly.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, because realistically, there's not a lot more going on than that. There are no real layers to this movie. What you see is kind of what you get.
So can you tell me who else is in this Marvel movie apart from Kong?
Well, in this Marvel movie, you've got Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, who also happens to go by the name of James Conrad in this particular movie. You've got Nick Fury, or Samuel motherfucking Jackson, who plays Preston Packard. You've got Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, who plays Mason Weaver. You've got the guy from the Nova Corps from Guardians of the Galaxy, whose name I don't know if they ever mentioned. I think they did, but I can't remember what his name was. But that's John C. Reilly. Then you've also got John Goodman and Corey Hawkins, who aren't in Marvel at all, but should be.
Should be.
They should be.
Get them in the bloody movies.
Get them in the movies. Especially Corey Hawkins. Corey Hawkins is all sorts of big right now.
He's everywhere.
He is everywhere.
You can't turn around and he's always there.
He is the new Jack Bauer on 24.
Yes.
Except his name isn't Jack Bauer. But he's the new guy.
He's the guy.
He is.
He's the guy with the watch. It's always ticking.
It is always ticking. This is directed by Jordan Vogt Roberts, who has done pretty much nothing that you've heard of.
Hey, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I I'm going to say it this way. Budget brand directors on big budget movies.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much that he's budget brand. It's just kind of more like this is his foray into the big time, the big leagues.
So budget brand.
Okay. He's the black and gold of directors.
Love it.
Look, so he has done a pretty good job, but we'll get into that. So story. What are your thoughts on the story?
The story. I think it was more of a battle between man and monkey.
Man versus beast.
Yeah.
Look, honestly, for a movie that is titled Kong Skull Island, there's not a lot of Kong.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's enough Kong to keep me happy when I think of Godzilla.
Yeah.
That movie, you saw more of Godzilla on small TV screens than you actually saw of him.
Well, that is true. That is true.
I feel like this is a really good change to that. And I was happy with Kong. I was really spoilers.
From here on in.
From here on in, I was great. It was so great to see Kong was like one of the first things you see.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like that actually surprised me.
Yeah.
Like there was no big, sort of big build
rumbling
up
in the jungle
and all that sort of stuff. And you see the trees shake.
It's just bam. I'm fucking Kong.
Yeah, it's like, oh, by the way, this is my fucking island. Dude.
Yeah.
Here I am. But that was right at the start, pretty much.
I'm concerned about the size of this island for the size of that monkey.
Yeah, well, but there is one point, like, where you do see him jumping from cliff to cliff. Like, so it is kind of large. But there are other shots where he is enormous.
Yeah. I found his scale was varying depending on where he was.
Yeah, so do I. And there was one part in particular, and it's kind of where it's kind of where he's so we've just had the first big sort of, they've come in, and I'm jumping for this particular reason. So they've come in and, they've blown up the land a bit, and, he's attacked the helicopters and all that sort of stuff, and he's a bit injured, and he goes and he sits in this lake. So, and then he fights this giant squid octopus thing, right? And so this is something that obviously is supposed to be well and truly deep within this thing. And this water is barely sort of coming up to his ankles, really.
Yeah.
He kind of sits in it and he barely sort of submerges himself. So it's kind of, it's that sort of thing where, because then you see him again later and the scale is way different.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they, missed that, like it just kept happening on purpose, but who knows?
Who knows? But it was something that it was just a minor detail that really took me out of the movie, because there's scenes where he's holding Brie Larson's character where he almost looks smaller, but then he's further away and he looks just gigantic.
Yeah, for sure. But going back to the story, what we mentioned in the synopsis is really it. And it's kind of, you've got John Goodman and Corey Hawkins, and they're these kind of monster hunters, but you don't really find that out till later. And, they very, very quickly assemble this team together. And, it's got the handsome British SAS guy, and, then it's got your team of military men, and then it's got, like your ridiculously good-looking war photographer in Brie Larson. But, it's all done very quickly, and it gets us to the action, which I did appreciate. Because what I would say is that, what it did well is it got us into the action quickly. And that, to me, is important because there is not a lot of story going on.
Yeah, you're pretty much right.
Yeah.
That's what saved this movie.
100%.
Action all the way. And that's all it is. It's just like, boom, here's the island, here we go.
This is a very visually like stimulating movie, and you get like a lot of you get a lot of action, and you get all that sort of stuff, and there's explosions, and there's monster fights, and there's this, that, and the other, and there's a couple of like sort of gory deaths and all that. But yeah, there is nothing pushing the story along. The story itself is about as cliched as a story can get. Like just
absolutely.
about every character is, the representation of who they are. It's almost incredibly hard, and we're going to talk about the hero and the villain and all that sort of stuff pretty soon, but it's hard to distinguish kind of who is who, really. Yep. And realistically, Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson are kind of almost wasted because they're kind of there to be attractive.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And I agree 100%. They're just there to look at.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Brie probably has, 8 lines of dialogue?
If she's lucky. If she's lucky, she's got 8 lines of dialogue. They're the most hard-hitting dialogue, like lines through the whole movie, sure. But, it's, and if you were looking at a main sort of like protagonist in amongst the humans, it kind of really is Tom Hiddleston, but he also doesn't do a lot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just to get us through to the next monster fight.
Pretty
basically.
much, yeah. Okay, let's talk about the hero and the villain then.
Yeah.
It's up to you, I guess. Because is the hero Kong? Is the hero Tom Hiddleston? Is the hero Brie Larson? Is the hero John C. Reilly?
is the real hero Samuel L. Jackson? Who?
Well, it's all perspective.
Yeah, because realistically, if you're looking at a human villain, the human villain would be Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
But his motives aren't ever villainous.
Yeah, they're 100% logical.
Yeah, so he is this basically, this warmonger. He's basically he's on his last legs in war. He knows he's about to go home. He doesn't want to go home. This is his, one last mission.
It's war's his life, basically.
Yeah, war's his life, and they come to this island, and basically a whole bunch of his men get killed very quickly, very gruesomely, and he wants revenge, and that's kind of all it is. He wants revenge for the men that he has lost,
Yeah.
at all costs. He doesn't actually ever kill anybody, or he doesn't hurt anybody, or he doesn't really do anything. Kind of points a gun or something, that sort of thing.
That's about as he kind of has a crazy vibe about him.
Yeah, but that's Samuel L. Jackson.
But that's
too,
Samuel
man.
L. Jackson
He's got
down
them
to a
crazy
T.
eyes.
Oh man, he had crazy eyes like to level 10.
Can I tell you what there was a lot of in this movie? Fist clenching.
There was. Even Kong was doing it. I was expecting him to wear a yellow jumper.
Yeah.
That meme.
Yeah. It's just there was honestly more fist clenching than I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And I've seen plenty of things with fist clenching in it. We're watching Iron Fist right now.
Yeah, exactly.
There's more fist clenching in this than there is in Iron Fist.
But yeah, I mean, if I had to look at this movie, you would have to say he is the villain.
Realistically,
in a sense.
yeah. So you've got your human people and you've got your monsters, and if you're looking at it, he's the human villain. The giant skull crusher is the monster villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'd throw it around in Kong and Tom Hiddleston.
Actually, I'm adjusting who my villain is.
Yep.
And it's going to be the, I guess, set designer or the cinema photographer.
Yeah.
For just being as cliche as it can get.
Yeah.
For a post-Vietnam War movie.
Yeah, so I would say that's the screenwriter.
The screenwriter?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the villain of this movie. There's about 37 scenes of helicopters flying into
The sunset.
The sunset.
Yeah.
There's a yellow wash that's completely over the whole movie the entire time.
Yep.
I swear at nighttime it even looks like there's a yellow wash over it.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack guy.
Oh man, there's every single Creedence Clearwater Revival song you've ever heard in your life.
I tell you what, their royalties are through the roof.
Well, see, this is probably aimed at millennials who probably wouldn't have grown up with that music necessarily, but obviously they've heard it. It's attached to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that Creedence, those songs.
Yeah, everyone's seen Forrest Gump, mate.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm talking about. So they're in every other major movie
Yeah.
they've seen, so let's throw them in this movie as well. It wouldn't be a Vietnam movie
without some
helicopters into the sun and Creedence, for sure.
They had fucking helicopters with boom boxes on them playing Creedence. I mean, come on.
Hey, look, that could be historically accurate.
That could be.
But, we don't know. We weren't there. But it's very much everything that you've seen before.
Yeah.
But look, I've got to say, I absolutely loved the world they created.
Oh, it's fantastic.
You know what I mean? They've done a really, really good job. Skull Island itself, it looked amazing, and you can't fault the CGI in this movie.
No, it was I wouldn't say it's always on point.
Yeah.
But it's good enough.
Oh, there were a couple of bits and pieces here and there for sure. But, when you're talking about the whole big final act is essentially a battle between Kong and a giant skull crusher, that looked
fantastic.
It looked great.
How does that rate for you against the Peter Jackson King Kong fight with him and the T-Rex?
Look, different times, man.
Different times?
Peter Jackson's obviously a very well-established director, and he had his own vision. But and that's definitely a more traditional King Kong story.
Yeah.
But I did not get into it at all. I didn't get
I'm
into
the
the
same.
action at all. This for me, this had no story, but was just flat out action, balls to the wall.
I would really like
monsters
to
punching
see
each other in the face.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to see how the actual screenwrite for this is.
Yeah. How it'd be very, very sort of basic. It's a generic white character.
Yep.
You know, wears
Attractive white female.
yeah, you know, sort of thing. Grizzled, you know, war sergeant, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be much detail into what they're kind of like the picture they're trying to paint. But yeah, there's a lot. Look, there's a lot of really good stuff about it though. But there's also just like, I mean, one thing as an example, Brie Larson realistically didn't do much. Right. And while every single scientist at some point had dropped whatever they were doing and picked up a gun, she never once dropped her camera. And I understand. But when you're like in this sort of scenario and you are this person who is kind of like, you know, you're kind of coming to the forefront as not so much a leader, but, you know, a voice to be listened to when you do actually say something. You might want to actually pick up a gun and fight at some point.
Yeah, well, there's a scene where the massive spider's going overhead, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he kind of have these like legs that just can stab through you.
Yeah.
Everyone there is standing like in this circle with their backs to each other holding guns, and she's there holding her camera like it's a gun almost.
Well, was she even in that scene? Because I thought she was already separated with... She was with Tom Hiddleston already. But there was a scene where there was stuff happening, and it was, I think, it was the major where they start to leave and they have the battle with the Skull Crushers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of humans versus Skull Crushers, and that's kind of where she's there.
Maybe that's the scene I was thinking of.
So that's where she is, and she like jumps up to this like great vantage point, not to do anything, but just to get a sweet ass picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like,
it's taking your craft to the next level.
yeah, and like that's important, but at some point you got to pick up a gun and fucking fight.
Yeah.
And I think her character was so cliched that they almost tried to immediately force like a non-existent romance between her and Tom Hiddleston.
Yep.
Like she just was immediately drawn to him, and
Yep.
you would be because he's handsome as fuck. But she was just immediately drawn to him, and that was it. And you know, like she was like he was the only character that she would touch. You know, everywhere he went, if he was at the front of the boat, Brie Larson comes to the front of the boat. You know what I mean? And they were always like all together very quickly. And I think like if she's as strong a character as she would be, she wouldn't necessarily latch onto someone
exactly.
like that. So I think that's kind of a miss there.
What's your favorite moment from this movie?
Oh, look, I would have to say the action scenes, right? But there's one thing that I want to mention just before we move on from that in regards to the action scenes, and I want to know if you picked this up. So every time, so you have your initial action scene where the helicopters come in and they're dropping their bombs, and Kong gets pissed off, and you know he starts like just absolutely destroying all of them, right? So then you're left with your little groups that are left, right? So then as you go, more and more people get picked off by these monsters, right? But then when you get to the group when it's actually the humans versus the Skull Crushers, is there not almost a larger number of people that were there to sort of act as like cannon fodder, so the main group of people could still be the same main group of people?
That's a very good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
now
it's like
that you
people
mention
were kind of coming out of nowhere and getting killed, and you're like, oh, which main dude was that? Or which main dude was that? And then you realize none of the main people have actually been killed off. And you're like, where the fuck were these people at any point in this movie?
That's a very good point.
And then
there's a lot of red shirts.
There are a lot of red shirts, but they're red shirts that you never ever see on screen. And it seems like it's a very small kind of, you know, group of people. But then all of a sudden, when they're fighting people, there's a dude who's got a flamethrower. There's a dude like, you know, there's like, get the 50 cal. And the guy, you know, all that sort of stuff. It's like, where did these people fucking come from? Because they have not been in any shot ever.
And I'm pretty sure dragging around a 50 caliber machine gun would be heavy as fuck.
Yeah. And look, it's...
These guys are going through rivers.
It's crazy.
They're going over swamplands.
Yeah.
They're going through fucking rainforest.
They were literally walking through a swamp. And that's kind of my point, because you see that group walk through a swamp and you see 6 of them.
Yes.
Then when you see them when
there's about 20 of them.
Yeah, there's 20 of them. And it's even the scene after that where it's kind of, you know, Kong is... it's when Samuel L. Jackson is trying to actually destroy Kong with the napalm and all that sort of stuff, right? There is a scene where he kills someone else. Kong kills someone else.
That's right.
And you're like, who the fuck is that dude?
Yeah.
Because they've never shown. And then you think, okay, was that one of the main dudes? And then you see all the main guys again.
Yeah.
So that to me, like, while the action scenes were brilliant, it's kind of like they just brought a whole bunch of people in for the sake of killing people that aren't the main cast members.
Yeah.
What about you? What are your favorite moments?
You know what? My favorite moment was probably the opening action scene.
Yeah.
Just with when you first see Kong and you see how, like, dominating he is.
Yeah.
He just takes down every helicopter that he can. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That really set the tone for this movie for me.
Yeah, well and truly. All set to the blazing soundtrack
Yeah.
of Creedence at some point. What about, so any major problems?
Apart from his varying height, and that could just be like trickery of the eye, and the underuse of actual character development.
Yeah.
Those two things, they're the only problems I had. But even saying that, I don't find them to be like a major concern of mine.
Okay. Yeah. So for like my major problems, other than the same thing. So the story, there's no character development. None of the characters really matter at all whatsoever. There is one, it gets very, very cliched as it goes along.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cliches all the way through it.
And that might be the problem. That might be why I don't have a problem with it being like blasé characters and blasé story, because it's like something I've already seen before.
Yeah, maybe.
So I know what to expect.
Well, mine would be like my ultimate cliche though would be, and I forget the actor's name, but he's been in a million things. He's the Cole guy. His name's Cole. So he's the older kind of more grizzled leader of them,
Yes.
other than Samuel L. Jackson. He'd be Samuel L. Jackson's second in command kind of thing. And he's there for the whole thing. But he makes the ultimate sacrifice kind of seemingly out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So they kind of need like to escape, and they're not even asking for a diversion. They're just saying
They don't even need it.
yeah, we just need to hurry up.
Yeah.
And this guy just kind of like drops everything and he's like, fuck it, let's do it. And it's almost a very platoonish, like instead of holding the flares or whatever, like he's holding 2 grenades and, and then it's all for nothing. It's all for naught, as you would expect.
Quite
it to
hilarious,
be.
actually.
Quite hilariously, yeah. But it's all for nothing. But it's the ultimate, one of the guys sacrifices his life for everyone else for absolutely no fucking reason, cliche. And that, stresses me out a little bit.
Any Easter eggs?
Look, I guess the biggest Easter egg would be
The bloody after credit scene, mate.
the after credit scene, which is so worth sticking around for. Basically, what's essentially happened is everyone is, 90% of the people of the main group of people make it back.
Yeah.
There's only Samuel L. Jackson who kind of dies in a very almost Deep Blue Sea-ish type of way.
But with more sharks.
But with more sharks, yeah, totally more sharks. He dies, and they kind of, again, they kill him off like he's a villain. And while he is technically supposed to be, the antagonist,
You know what he is? He's a moral villain.
I guess, yeah,
Because
that's a good way to put it.
He's not really doing anything wrong. He's just doing something that's not morally in line with everyone else there.
Yeah, that's true. And again, none of his motivations are evil.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination. But we get this end thing of where, they've started talking about there are monsters on Earth and, stuff like that, and it's their land first and blah, blah, blah. And then, we get these like cave paintings or whatever. It's just, it's not even worth
It's little winks.
Yeah, it's kind of little winks to, to Godzilla and Mothra and like the whole sort of, group
The whole family of monsters.
Yeah, the whole family of monsters. So, it's obviously leading into Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah. And I'm actually I'm really looking forward to this like bigger world.
Yeah.
I can't wait for more Marvel characters to show up.
Yeah, totally. But more so now that I've seen Kong and understand, like, it's copped some flack, but I don't think, I understand why it's getting it, but you also probably need to go into this movie expecting, not a lot as
Not
far
a lot
as
and a
story
lot of
goes.
cliches.
Yeah, so, that's fine. But yeah, that's the only real Easter egg. It's just the scene at the end where you've got Corey Hawkins' character and you've got Brie Larson and Tom Hiddleston, and they're all, just kind of, it's like welcome to Monarch or whatever.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
They're actually being held captive by the people they were with.
Yeah. And they don't know that at the time until Corey Hawkins just walks out and goes, welcome to Monarch.
Yeah.
So he's been like fucking with them
The whole time.
the whole time. But anyway, it's not really worth sticking around for, I would say. Would you agree?
Nah, save your time.
Yeah.
Save your time.
Because it is at the very end.
Yeah.
So you go through the entire
and there's a lot
credits.
of Credence credits.
There are a lot of Credence credits. But there is, because it's like there's, Indian location. It's like Australian location. This, that, and the other. And it's just everywhere. It's crazy. There's so many credits. I've never seen it before in my life. But yeah, don't bother. It's not worth the time.
Big question. Do you rate it or do you hate it?
I will say rate it, even though, it's like it's not a good story. You need to understand that. And I will paraphrase rate it by saying, while it is one of those movies you should see at the cinemas because of the scope of it, it's not going to hurt you if you wait and see this when it comes on, Blu-ray or video on demand or something like that.
Yeah, that's perfect, actually.
Yeah.
I rate it too. It's just fun.
It's fun.
It's a better version of Transformers.
Oh, for sure. Look, this movie went for just over 2 hours.
And it went quick.
And it went quick. Like, it keeps you entertained while not actually ever stressing your brain out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a dumb movie.
Yeah. So now the big question, who do you think takes it? Now that we're seeing both movies, Godzilla and Kong, who takes it?
Mate, they're going to fight for a while, but then they're going to have to team up.
They're going to team up. I cannot wait to see Mothra.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see. I don't care about the other ones. All I want to see is how they do Mothra and how a giant moth looks on the big screen, man. I want to see.
You know what? It's not going to have like those soft, fluffy wings. I reckon it's going to be like real bony.
Yeah, it'll look pretty menacing.
Yeah.
It will be very interesting to see how they bring it all together. I'd still give it to Kong. So
yeah, I'm going to give it to Kong because there's a single throwaway line in this movie that had to be put in there because Godzilla is just so gigantic. They said Kong is still growing.
Yes, of course. So the Kong you see is baby Kong.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I'm going to give it to Kong.
Okay, nice.
Comic of the Week, brought to you by my pet dog who keeps annoying me.
Yeah, we have a dog in the studio today, which you would think would be a whole bunch of fun. But he's a good kid, but he's a little bit noisy.
He's like, what is he, a year old now, I think?
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm going to just bite everything.
So if you hear like little, noises and scratchings in the background, it's not Cade. It's actually Brax.
Not
dog.
me this time, at least.
It's not Cade this time, yeah. So, Comic of the Week, man. It's time. Let's get into it. And since we're talking about giant monsters and, we also mentioned Wonder Woman, so I thought I'd kind of try to cram the two of them together, which I managed to do, and that is Justice League of America, A League of One. So that's basically, you can kind of think of this as kind of like the JLA meets Lord of the Rings. It's essentially Wonder Woman versus a giant ancient dragon, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, okay.
That I managed to find something that,
How hard did you look?
I knew it existed. I just hadn't read it previously.
Oh,
so
right.
I went out and I got it. And I read it, and it's pretty damn good because it is one of the better Wonder Woman stories out there.
Yeah.
Because not only does she have to face this giant ancient dragon, before she does that, she actually has to go face to face with each member of the JLA. Which is exciting when you think about it, because like a lot of times, Wonder Woman gets a lot of credit for being, this great warrior and she's super powerful, but you kind of don't get to see how intelligent she is and, necessarily and all that sort of stuff. So here she has to effectively take down individually, member by member of the JLA in order to fight this dragon. And the reason she has to do that is because, essentially, so a bit of backstory, there's an ancient evil dragon. It's like the last of its kind, and it's awoken in Europe, and it's set to wreak havoc on all of mankind. So Wonder Woman has taken a couple of days off. She's back in the Misera, just kind of relaxing around. She's like hanging out with a wood nymph.
Just on the beach.
Nymph. Yeah, she's just chilling
having a
out.
couple of cocktails.
Yeah, and she learns of the resurrection of this dragon as a prediction from the Oracle of Delphi. And the Oracle predicts the deaths of the entire Justice League of America at the hands of the dragon. So Wonder Woman takes it upon herself to remove them from harm by taking them out one by one. And, then she obviously makes the ultimate sacrifice, giving her own life instead of the entire JLA's. But yeah, it's very interesting. She has to take on Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern. She takes on Batman, Superman, and she beats them all, but not necessarily physically. She's very smart about it, which is the best part. So she has to basically use kind of all her power, her prowess, battle sort of intellect, that sort of thing. So it's pretty good.
I like it.
And then she fights the dragon and she wins.
I'd love to see Batman fans say, oh, Batman would have beat the dragon.
Well, see, the thing is,
He's always prepared for dragons.
he's always got something in his utility belt.
He's got anti-dragon spray.
Yeah, dragon repellent. Look, what it is it's kind of it's interesting in the sense because the Oracle predicts that they will all band together and they will defeat the dragon, but every one of them will die. So the prophecy is that whoever faces this dragon will defeat the dragon,
But they'll be dead.
but they will also die as well. So that's kind of why she takes them all out because she doesn't want them to die and she takes it on herself. So that's pretty good. Look, written and illustrated by Christopher Moeller, and it is brilliantly done. Let me tell you, it looks fantastic. It's available through Comixology. You got about 13 bones to spare. Go pick it up. I did. That's how I got it, and it's worth it.
Fantastic.
You get a second story as well, but that's the main one.
Can I tell you a disastrous story?
Of course.
I jumped on the Comixology the other day.
Yeah.
And I bought the first collection of The Flash.
Yeah.
Rebirth.
Yeah.
Which has, I couldn't even tell you how many because I didn't get to read it.
Why?
My partner took the iPad.
Oh, so she has gone on a holiday and you're left with no comics.
Yes.
That sucks. Because that's all your comic readings are.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh,
So,
well.
I mean, I could read them on the computer.
Yeah.
But then I can't be on my couch.
Yeah, and you want to be on your couch when you're reading comics, man.
Yeah.
It's the best way to be. I read most of my comics either on the couch or in bed. This is the best way to do it. You got to be
Or in the bathroom, mate. Be real.
No. I save that for newspapers and scrolling Facebook and nudie mags.
And nudie, man.
Basically. But that's it, man. That's going to do it for another episode. Stay tuned next week when we review the entire series of Iron Fist in one go.
Get fisted.
Get ready to get fisted. We're going to do it all in one go. We haven't done that before with these Netflix series. Kind of usually break them down, but we're getting into it.
Yeah.
Watching this whole thing in a week.
What's that tell you about the show? You'll have to wait.
You'll have to wait and see. Fuck a critic? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they've got it right this time.
How many episodes have you watched so far?
4.
4.
Yes.
I think I've watched 9 or 10.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna fit. How many's in the season? 13.
13.
I'm finishing it tonight.
Oh, damn.
I think.
Well,
I do have to put this
yeah,
online.
you know, there's plenty of stuff to do, but you go for it, champ. You
Yeah.
do what you got to do. You get fisted as hard as you need to. But, you know, that's it. Let's thank some people. We've got the listeners, subscribers, reviewers. They make a big difference.
They
to
make
the
a
show.
huge difference. You know what would also make a huge difference?
What?
Telling a friend about the show.
Yeah, tell a friend.
You got a friend who likes nerdy stuff
Yeah.
and wants to hear 2 completely unqualified people talk?
Yeah, we've been doing it for a year though. That's like 1/4 of a degree.
Is it?
So we're first year graduates.
Yeah,
in the
we're
degree
freshmen.
of comicsology from the School of Hard Knocks.
Yes.
or something. But you know we've got quite a few reviews lately, which is very impressive, and we thank you. And they've all been 5-star, so that does help as well.
You know what also helps?
What?
Jumping on our Facebook, which is Comic Confidential. There's the listener community on there.
Yes.
Jump on there.
That's the Comic Confidential listener community. That's how you search for it. It is there. It is available. It
For
is
free.
For free. And it's a great place to go and talk to like-minded people and post memes, and you can do all sorts of stuff,
make
man.
friends.
You can make friends.
I've made like 4 friends off there.
Yeah, I've made 100 friends.
Well, I didn't want to like just be a dickhead like you and say everyone, but everyone is my friend.
Yeah, everyone's my friend. I love them all equally. They're like children that you don't have a favorite for, even though everyone knows there's always a favorite
It's
child.
always the first child.
I would say second. But anyway, moving on. We also have a Snapchat. That is Snapchat.com/. No, I don't actually know
No,
what
it's
you do with
just- I think
Snapchat. Just go to Snapchat and then you search Comic Con Pod.
Yeah,
And
just put Comic Con Pod. Can we get rid of that?
What?
Snapchat?
Yeah, look, why not? Let's make a decision right now.
Snapchat, you're gone.
Snapchat is gone.
It still be there, but we're not going to even talk about it anymore.
Yeah. So thanks for everyone that has participated in Snapchat, but you're done.
You're done, mate.
You're totally done.
Guess what? If you want to talk to us, do it on the community.
Yes, that's where we spend a lot of our time, trust me. We also have a website that we spend some time on occasionally.
That's comicconpod.com. If you want to support the show, help us out for 25 cents a week. That's so cheap.
That is very cheap.
What's that? It's 25 cents an episode.
25 cents an episode, my friend.
If you think this episode was worth 25 cents, just become a Patreon supporter.
Yeah. If you don't, let us know, because I'd really like to know what we're doing so terribly wrong.
Yeah. Someone let us know what the monetary value of each episode is, in your opinion.
Yeah, and be nice about it.
No,
But-
or be ruthless.
Okay, be ruthless.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, make me cry.
Keep it in regular currency. Understand there are no 1 and 2 cent pieces anymore, so that does not count.
In Australia, anyway.
In Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
What else is there? Oh, we got a Redbubble.
We do have a Redbubble. There's lots of good shit to get on there. There's a brand new t-shirt.
There's a brand new t-shirt. You can now buy You Heard It Here First t-shirt.
Which everybody wants. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
That's what they want. That and Ron Perlman Be My Dad, which is coming. I swear it's coming.
You'll be the only person who buys that.
Maybe.
I'll make it for you.
Maybe a lot of people want Ron Perlman. Make it for me.
Okay.
Make it for me, and you'll have at least one buyer. Don't forget the sweet deal we have over at Comic Blitz.
That's 3 months of comics for $1 a month. That's $3. That's 25 cents a week too. God damn.
For 50 cents a week, you can have this show and all you can read comics.
That's a fucking good deal.
That's amazing.
You tell me where you can get better value.
Don't go to McDonald's and get a 50-cent cone.
You get fat.
You'll get fat.
And we're the ones who are fat, so there can't be more than 2 fat people on this
Get
podcast.
fat on knowledge.
Yeah.
Get fat on comic knowledge and movie reviews and stuff. Do that. And don't forget the other show that we have on iTunes as well, available every Sunday, The Weekly Wrap. If you want TV recaps,
That's the show for you.
that's the show for you.
Do you ever watch Supergirl and question, why the fuck am I watching this?
Because we do every week.
And you can join us, and we can embrace the hate and enjoy the love when it's good.
Yes, which happens sometimes,
2 times a season.
at least.
There's also The Flash,
Yep. Arrow,
Legends on Tomorrow,
The Walking Dead,
The Walking Dead,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Please come back.
And one thing that we are doing is once these shows finish their seasons, we want to pick up some more shows. Naturally, as longtime listeners of the show would know, we do already have Preacher and Fear the Walking Dead that we always pick up in the off-season. But let us know some other shows that you would like us to listen to, watch, I guess,
Yeah.
and then review or recap for you. Things like Game of Thrones and stuff like that. Try to keep it within pop culture as much as you can.
We're not going to bloody review 2 Broke Girls
Yeah.
or New Girl.
No, we're not. Well, New Girl's a great show. By the
I'll
way.
stop watching
But,
that so long ago.
look, we're not going to do 2 Broke Girls. We're not here to review things like Better Homes and Gardens or Bondi Vet.
Yeah.
Great shows, yes, but just not in our wheelhouse. So anyway, let us know that, and you can do that on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want to do it.
Listener community, mate. Get in there. Make your voice heard.
Yeah, that's free, by the way.
That is so free.
Just so you know. Look, that's it. Thanks for listening. As always, I'm Troy,
I'm Cade.
and this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace. Did we not do a hashtag this week?
Oh, no, we didn't.
Think of one.
Hashtag
Hashtag Sam motherfucking Jackson.
hashtag dog in the studio.
Oh, dog in the studio. Say something, dog.
Fuck you, Troy.
Nice one.